What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends? This is Coach E on behalf of Perfect Time Fitness and Meal Prep. We are accepting new clients on both sides. Now, on that personal training side, we are located at Fit Circuit. That is 22141 Rockside Road, Bedford Heights, Ohio, 44146. Now, we do offer one-on-one personal training, group training, one-on-one boxing cardio class that is noon every Saturday, sports-specific training, and weight loss. On that meal side, we do offer personalized meal prep, catering, charcuterie boards, fresh fruit and vegetable juicing. Now, for us to get in touch with you and for you to get in touch with us, reach out to us on www.perfecttimefitness.com and sign up for those things previously mentioned. We are waiting to hear from you and can't wait to hear from you. Thanks for reaching out in advance. Peace.
Break.
We are live at Magna Wine Boutique in downtown Bedford. Address 661 Broadway Avenue, Bedford, Ohio. Come down, holler at my cousin Brittany, holler at my cousin Dre for all your wine needs, all you wine connoisseurs out there. Come pay him a visit. Now let's get down to business. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Coach E Game for All Seasons. With your boy Coach E, local neighborhood high school football coach, local neighborhood high school basketball coach, local high school track coach. Also, most importantly, co-CEO, El Presidente at Perfect Time Fitness and Meal Prep, head trainer at Perfect Time Fitness by way of Fit Circuit. Ladies and gentlemen, www.perfecttimefitness.com is where you need to be, as well as magna.com. This is where you also need to be, to see what we got going on and to join every program that we have. But now we got that out the way. To my left and my far left, I got two assistant coaches. On the closest left, I got B Sizzle. What up, B?
What's going on, man? You switched it up, man. But before I tell these people who I am, you know, it's bittersweet this weekend. We ain't gonna talk about that, though. I'm just laid back like Faux Flax on a Cadillac, or maybe laid back like the shine on his back. Ooh, but it's not your boy, but your favorite grown-ass man and number one Baker Mayfield fan, still in the building, 317. Ooh, boom, shakalaka. Mr. Taboo Timmons. How you doing, Coach E?
Well, I was doing good till you brought up that damn Baker Mayfield, but hey, we do have an editing department, so we'll take care of that too. On the far left, I got my homeboy Zen. What's up, Zen?
All right, so the Brown season over with, right? So,
Man.
So, what team should I be rooting for now? I don't know. What team I need to root for now?
Spin the wheel.
You know, I got 15 more weeks left, so y'all tell me.
Bearcats. Let's root for the Bearcats.
There we go. I turn my attention to high school football now. But what's good, fellas?
Them Bearcats. That's definitely good. Welcome on to the room, fellas. We accept all applicants.
I got a funny story later about that, though. You got hit up. Yeah,
okay.
later. We'll talk about it later.
Well, since we're on the subject of them Bedford Bearcats, we have a very special guest here with us tonight, the brand new athletic director of Bedford High School Athletics. We have my main man, JC Commander. Welcome to the show, JC.
Fellas, appreciate the honor. It's an honor. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Look forward to it.
So, we're going to get right into this. Want to learn a little bit about you. But the first question we always ask, B, what is the first question we ask every single guest?
How do you know Coach E? Is that the first question? That is the first question.
You got it right. That is the first question. So, JC, how did you get to know Coach E?
So first interaction was graduation. So I stopped by last year's graduation, just in process of kind of getting to know people and seeing how things go. So, job officially started in August, but I've probably been in and out and touring all the buildings since probably March, trying to get a feel for things. So, was at graduation and was on gate duty, and a very large individual walked up to me and said, "Hey, I need to get through there," and I just stepped aside. So that was pretty much my first interaction with Coach E. And then I got to meet him formally though at Marquise Copeland. Alumni came back and did a really good kids youth football camp, and so Coach E and I got a chance to talk, kind of chop it up after that camp. So I got to know him a little bit better, and some of the other staff as well. So really looking forward to restoring the luster and bringing back the Bearcat logo, so to speak. So Rise of the Bearcats, that's our thing. That's our theme. So hashtag Rise of the Bearcats.
I love it. I love it. So with my previous experience at Bedford High School, we've had the AD that's been there for a while, and the name shall remain nameless. But just being honest, meeting you the first time, I'm like, all right, is this going to be another athletic director with the same thing that he had going on, the empty promises and things like that? I was on the fence, but ever since we've been getting closer and closer, I'm starting to find out the real you, and we starting to click a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Have a little one-on-one conversations every once in a while.
Yeah.
Get to feel each other out, compare things, and throw ideas out on the table.
Yeah.
I think we're off to a good start, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah.
So, looking at that bio, you hail from Lima, Ohio. Is that correct?
That is Lima, Ohio, known for Greg Simpson and.
See, nobody know about Greg Simpson.
Yeah.
See, that's a name that you say that out there and like who? I actually know Greg Simpson, Ohio State.
Yeah,
I remember Greg Simpson. Yeah,
Greg Simpson was the man. They had Greg Simpson Day in Lima, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow!
So he was a senior. And I'm a senior, obviously, and I was a freshman at little old Shawnee, but they came to play. I mean, they were like the Bulls, man. They were just wherever they went, like crowds followed them. So, and he was an absolute rock star.
Wow.
Yeah.
And a baller, too. So.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Most importantly.
Yeah. Lima's home to Greg Simpson and probably the Kewpie burger. That's probably the big thing.
Well, you're going to have to explain what that is.
I was about to straight go there.
Look, you got a foodie right here. So you say the Kewpie burger.
So,
he he'll drive to Pennsylvania to get some beer. So I know if it's good enough, he'll drive to Lima to get a burger. So
Gas up.
Oh, you've had one before?
Yeah, that's the place with the line be wrapped around the
wrapped
building.
around, yeah.
So I'm driving. I did some work out there, so I'm hungry. I'm driving. I'm looking for some food. I'm like, I see this line wrapped around. I say they got just burgers and people wrapped around the building. Then I got in that line. I ate it right in the parking lot. And I got right back in that line and got
That's how it goes. Kewpie Burger is an experience, man.
Man,
you gotta stop through there as you pass through Lima. It's definitely worth it. Definitely.
So Lima is what, 2?
Probably closer to 3. I mean, depending on how you move up and down that turnpike, you know what I mean. But turnpike and hit 75. I like to say Lima's between Toledo and Dayton. If you blink, you'll miss it. That's what I like to say.
Okay. So I was reading the bio as well too. So go from Lima, then you go to Hiram.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
So tell us about going from that journey, starting from Lima and being recognized to be able to go to Hiram to play football for 4 years.
Yeah. So I was I guess you could call me a late bloomer. Medical condition that has me with just one kidney. So mom and dad were very, very cautious with me playing tackle football all my life, and then I think they kind of got tired of me asking and begging and pleading and trying to explain it. So senior year, they said, "All right, man, go ahead." So, and like anything else, if you're new at it, your opportunities are gonna be limited, especially in high school ball. High school ball is. When you hit 12th grade, there's kids out there who are after scholarship money. So even when I was, a senior in high school. So, playing time was limited, but learned a lot, learned enough to keep wanting to play. And so Hiram seemed like a good landing spot because class size is real small. You know, one of those type schools. You know, one of those. We were in the OAC at the time, so you know, I think what sold my mom on it was when we toured it. Our student guide said, "Listen, if you don't come to class here, the teacher will call your room." And my mom was sold. She was like, "Oh yeah, you going right there." So there I landed.
That's a place I do not want to be. I don't need them calling my room. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, part of the college experience is missing class and not having to worry about it.
It is.
Especially them 8 a.m. joint.
Yeah, we tried to avoid those.
Right.
Tried to avoid those. But I got a chance to play ball there and continue to grow and loved it. And so 3-year starter, unfortunately, one of those years ended up breaking my ankle. And so had to miss that year, but got an extra year. So did enough to get invited to play some indoor ball in, of all places, North Dakota, you know, when I graduated. So it was called the IFL. Very, very cutthroat type of league, you know, where you got to make the game day roster, you know, in order to get paid. So did a year of that, and so I did a season of that, and basically said, you know what, this really isn't for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that degree to use. So classroom from there and coaching high school ball. So,
okay.
yeah.
So classroom, I want to backtrack real quick. So you said you had a medical condition, you only got one kidney.
Yeah.
One of the topics that we love to talk about going back and forth is the whole Damar Hamlin situation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that situation with one kidney, your parents being cautious about you getting out there playing football. Did you have any concerns about what may happen playing football?
I think as a kid, it's just, I want to go do, you know what I mean? And because all of my partners were going and doing. So I think as I got into college ball, I kind of became a little bit more aware of it, especially when you take a shot there. And even with me, you know, I kind of tried to help myself out. I wore rib protectors like a quarterback and just played in those. So, you know, I can count the number of times on one hand where I took a shot in the area where I needed to maybe be at least halfway concerned. But playing defense, I'm the one delivering the blow as opposed to, you know, sustaining it. So, yeah. But no, not really anything like that. My mom was scared to death. Let her tell it. You know what I mean? She was scared to death. But, you know, at a certain point, I think as a parent, and I'm learning this too, you know, I got a junior playing volleyball, and then a freshman playing football at Beechwood, and then a sixth grader playing soccer. So at a certain point, you kind of just got to turn them loose, and hey, you know, life's gonna happen.
It is what it is at that point.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
So I can totally agree and identify with you with that arena football situation. I was in arena football in Iowa and in Texas for 2 years.
You a barnstormer?
No, well, at the time we was the Steamwheelers.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
you know, same thing, Barnstormers,
Yeah,
Steamwheelers.
yeah.
Then went down to Texas for the Dusters.
Okay.
Amarillo Dusters.
Okay.
So did that I was in Texas for 2 years.
Okay.
But like you said, man, it's a different game. It's fun.
It's fun.
But it's a total different game.
It is.
And it took a while to get used to.
Feels really small.
It
You run out of
is
space
really
quick.
small.
Yeah.
Man, what? And I'll be trying to tell people about that wall, man. That wall is not
it's
as padded as
unforgiving.
they
It's
think,
unforgiving.
man.
Yeah.
Everybody see them banners hanging over and think it's like all kinds of
Strictly
padding.
promotion.
That's it.
Strictly promotion.
That is it. Had some fun times though. Fun times.
Absolutely.
Playing.
Absolutely.
But, you know, with people like us, if that's the only chance at avenue we got to still play, might as well explore it and see where it takes you from
Absolutely.
there. So
Yep.
I can 100% identify with that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so you go from there, you start teaching, you get in the classroom, and you transition from that to becoming more of what the administrative side or handling stuff?
Yeah. So South Euclid-Lyndhurst was kind enough to kind of give me a start as a classroom teacher. I did a year in Euclid as a building sub. Ended up getting lucky and landed a teaching position in South Euclid. Probably, I think somewhere in the 8 to 10 years doing the classroom thing, and then got an opportunity to actually go back to Euclid as like a dean type of, basically an administrator.
Nice.
And South Euclid kind of refused to let me go. So, and for people out there in the audience who are not familiar with how teaching contracts work, you have up until a certain date every summer to, I guess, basically notify the district and say, hey, I'm leaving. And after that date, the district has to give you permission. So it was after the date. My superintendent said, well, no, you ain't leaving. But it ended up being a blessing in disguise because she said, I know what you want to do. How about we let you do the same thing here in South Euclid, only we'll make it a little bit bigger. So instead of just being a dean in like one building, she said, how about you kind of be the dean of the district? So I kind of had caseloads and dealt with kids and did cool stuff, in every building in the district, which was great for me because it gave me the chance to kind of learn the administrative side of things. But at the same time, it allowed me to kind of still stay in my element in terms of being able to deal with kids consistently. Because one of the big knocks on administration is you kind of become separated from the kids, over the course of that time. And you almost have to stay distant. So I was lucky because I got a chance to continue doing stuff with all our kids. And I was the district fun guy when it came down to it, man. Like dodgeball tournaments, like 3-on-3 tournaments, like whatever I could do at each building to kind of almost in that PBIS role, like whatever I could do to kind of get kids motivated to do well in class throughout the day or throughout the month, I did it. And then that quickly got in because I was coaching all through that. So that quickly led me to athletics. And again, South Euclid Lyndhurst was kind enough to say, hey, when their AD job became available, I applied, I didn't get it, but no qualms at all with the guy who did get the job, Jamar Ross. The dude's phenomenal. And he's still a mentor to me to this day. He's still over there in charge, but they gave me the assistant athletic directorship there. And so when he and I sat down, I remember our day one conversation with him, and this is how I knew out of the gate I was going to have a lot of respect for him and enjoy working for him. He said, my job is to get you ready to either sit in this chair or the next one that becomes available. And so that's how, he trained me, so a lot of the stuff that I'm coming in here with, I learned it firsthand, just getting a chance to be able to go in and make mistakes and then him kind of pull me back in and say, okay, that didn't work right, did it? And I'll say, no, it didn't. He said, well, next time do it like this. So great experience being able to learn on the job and bring a lot of that here, hopefully.
Okay. So how did that experience, that mentorship, how's that craft your leadership style?
So Jamar's way of leading is pretty much, I'm going to tell you what to do and I'm going to get out of your way and go do it. And so that was a big thing for me in terms of being able to kind of be creative and be in my space and just keep him on my page. And so I would like to think, so far, Coach E will probably be able to speak better to this than him being an actual coach. I'd like to think that I kind of am that way where I have conversations with the coaches about, hey, this is what we need. And then I get out of the way and go about watching the coaches go succeed at it.
Okay.
I can second that. Yeah, that's literally how it is. But like I was saying earlier, with the other AD, it wasn't like that. It was just nothing. Like nothing. I mean, he would be at the games and stuff, but it wasn't like he would give us ideas to implement or give us suggestions to implement. It was just nothing. He was just there. Just some young guy.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm a little curious because I only see it on the movies. And all the movie ADs, they just say, you gotta win. Like, that's it. Like, you gotta win. Bring us a championship. So what else is it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, what is the responsibilities of an athletic director in high school?
So overseeing all athletic coaches, overseeing all student athletes. Scheduling is a huge part of it. Making sure that we are meeting all rules and expectations per OHSA guidelines. It's stuff like that. Probably the biggest piece off paper is relationships. So I think that's how you go about getting a lot done because, and again, Coach E and anyone else who has ever coached, unless you're Nick Saban or one of them guys that's, Power 5 or in the league, the money that you're being paid does not equate to the time that you're putting in. And one could even argue that at those Power 5 schools, the money that is being paid to those guys, it doesn't equate to all the missed time with family and things of that nature. So for me, what I was always taught, and again, another trick that Jamar Ross taught me was getting people to believe that you understand all the sacrifices that they make is a huge part to getting people to start to believe in the vision that you have and going about carrying out the things that you want them to do. So me having coaching experience probably helps a little bit because I have a small, I guess, idea of what varsity coaches are dealing with because I was an assistant for a number of years. So I get what they go through. I get the missed time. I get the getting home late. I get the missing your own kids' functions because you're busy with your kids here in Bedford. And again, these are our kids too, but we all have our kids. And I was literally just in a staff meeting this week at the high school talking to teachers about, hey, it would be great if we could see you guys at games. Now, I don't want to paint a picture as though our teachers don't come to games because we have a ton of staff in district that support our kids in everything that they do. But again, it also goes to, and I made sure I made this statement, I understand that we all have our own kids, and I will speak that I have a son playing varsity football in Beechwood. I've missed 3 of his games because I've been busy covering stuff here. And the understanding that I have with him is when I can get there, man, I'll get there. Please believe it. So it's that. So the role that I have is basically to oversee, but it boils down to relationships and getting people to believe in the vision and getting people to know that I'm here to support you. And even if there's a situation where we don't agree, I'm still going to support you. You know what I mean? And try to give you the opportunity to fix it. And hope that we never have to have a situation where I got to find somebody else to go do something.
Well, what I can say is you came in the door and never put like a cap on people's personality or the way they do things.
Yeah.
Because in the previous regime, not just with the AD, just with other spots at the school, they were so worried about, of course, behavior is a good thing and personality is a good thing to worry about, but you try to like be somebody else just to fit the bill, so to say.
Yeah.
But I have been nice and comfortable since you've been in the door, and you actually encourage a lot of things that I'm real high on. So we totally agree on a whole lot of things. So I appreciate that part.
Yeah,
so I ain't got to worry about, you shouldn't do that because that's a little, they might frown upon that. Not to say I go far on the regular stuff. It's just in the moment I'm a very intense person.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, absolutely.
And like it's kind of hard to put a cap on that in the moment. The moment is so big and so intense and so, I don't even want to say pressure because not a lot of pressure, but just that moment, the moment period can get to you. And
not a lot of people know that feeling either, which is why I try to allow people to be who they are.
Exactly.
Unless you've been in that hot seat to make that call on 4th and 1 and it goes right or it doesn't go right. And now you got to deal with, either the cheers and applause or the other stuff. Or comes with it.
The parents in the stands and you hear everything. Because my ears are pretty big.
Yes. Yeah.
Doing 4th and 1 now. Quarterback sweeping with the middle. Come on now. Let's implement that, Stefanski.
I cannot wait to get to that beat. Because I was so mad last night.
A lot of play callers in the stands. A lot of play callers in the stands.
Mad play callers.
That teaches you a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things that we do have, like our yearly State of the Union, because of who Coach E is, what he does. We have our State of the Union when it comes to youth sports, basically. All right, so I want to take it from the micro, take it to the macro of youth sports all together.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you was talking about, travel and different things, that's a trend that's growing. I guess as the professional sports, they're generating more and more money. You're starting to see the trickle down, and it's coming all the way down to youth sports. Now you're seeing youth facilities that's pretty much some on par with the professional facilities.
Yeah.
My question is, because I sent you a couple of clips from my favorite show, or one of my favorite shows. Real Sports with Brian Gumbel, RIP, 29 years, I'm going to miss you.
Yes.
But
Yes.
So one of the concerns that I worry about is kids being priced out of the game, being able to participate in the games. I don't know if it's necessarily the case, that kids have the same access. Like one of the things for me growing up was being able to go to quote unquote the hood to go play basketball.
Oh, yeah.
That was like a badge of honor to be able to do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's not necessarily the case anymore because they don't have the same access to those types of things anymore.
Right.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on this new day of what? More money, more money, the money piece of it, And as the story that I sent to you, they say youth sports is now a $9 billion industry right now.
Yeah.
That's wild to think of that.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get your thoughts on what you think of some of the trends that's going on in today's youth sports.
I think you are witnessing again, this is why I'm in athletics and not an English teacher, but the privatization, if that's a word, of youth athletics. And in some situations, athletics in general, because a lot of these programs that have the youth label, they will run up through age 13, 14. So, I mean, to me, that ain't youth no more. That's high school.
Yeah.
So, but what you have is a situation where school districts at times end up being limited in what we can and can't do and what we can and can't get away with. Because again, we are funded by taxpayers. So there's rules and regulations that we got to follow. Whereas if you are privatized, those same rules don't always apply to you in terms of what you can do. And in certain situations where you have a huge backer taking care of your program, and again, I won't give any names for the sake of, starting a war of words on Instagram or Twitter, but there are certain programs where there's NFL money backing them. And so now you have the freedom to present a whole lot more and give the kids a whole lot more, which at the end of the day, we're giving the kids an experience. I think that's why youth sports should continue to exist. But at the same time, sometimes kids can be lured away from what is a quality program that maybe cannot offer you all the bells and whistles, let's just call it that, because that program that's over here that is offering all that, it's at their disposal. So I think that one of the ways that I'd like to combat that here in Bedford City School District is the school district should own the youth sports component. So we should run things through the school. So, and in a case like that, like for example, I'm trying to bring travel basketball just to the 6th grade this year, because year one, we got to start small. And again, it's a monster to manage, but I do have some experience managing travel basketball at my stop in South Euclid. So, but that is going to be run through the school. So now, when a parent pays us for it, they know that money is going through the school. Again, with us being a tax-funded entity, we have to produce our books. We have to produce where that money is going and what it's being spent on, as opposed to a quote unquote stereotypical travel parent just giving $500 to a coach through a Cash App. Again, I don't want to disrespect all youth travel programs, because I've seen phenomenal coaching. I've seen great people running these programs, and they're doing right by the kids, and they're putting the kids in great situations to be successful. But for every one of those great ones you also have another one who maybe isn't on the up and up, and they're just kind of collecting money. So one of the things that I think as a school district we can do is, if we own it, money's being paid to us, I can ensure that quality coaching is being put in place, because the coaches who are going to coach for us, they'll go through pretty much the same rigorous steps that any of my high school or my middle school coaches have to go through in terms of the certification process, in terms of them kind of having some type of familiarity with what it is to coach. And on top of that, my varsity and my middle school coaches have hands-on to be able to clinic with those coaches who are coaching those youth programs.
Now, to take it and turn it a little bit personal. So, now you say you have a kid that plays volleyball, you have a kid that plays football.
Yeah, freshman football, and then a travel soccer player, 6th grade. Logan, the boss lady of the
There we
house.
go. Okay. Yes. So, this whole process, like, there's parents out here spending $10,000, $15,000 a year
Easy.
Training and all that.
Easy.
on this process. And I was just talking to this brother right here next to me the other day about this. And so it's getting a little bit crazy. You wondered, you spending this money for what basically the hopes of
a chance at generational wealth.
Exactly. It's a lottery ticket, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
A pricey lottery ticket that you
Good quote.
Yeah.
So for a chance at generational wealth, like you just said, at the very least, a college scholarship.
Yep.
I wanted to get your thoughts on what do you think would be better as far as taking a chance on that lottery ticket, or as we talked about, you could take that money and invest it and do something different to set them up better for their future down the road. You know, I'm a little torn because part of it is I would have loved as a kid to have that experience. But if I'd have known what that could have done to my parents in the process, I would have been like, And because at the end of the day, you just, when you think about like the NBA, they say 5,000 people who ever walked this earth played in the NBA. That is
small number.
Very small number.
Minute.
So I'm like, if there's decisions that as a parent that you got to make, you know, I just want to know is from your personal experience when you have to make those types of calls. What is it? What goes into it for you?
So, me being in the educational field, I know that academics has to be a priority. Now, people who live in districts where, let's take, for example, and I'm going to go other than Bedford, I'm going to say like a Mentor, where, you know, you have top-notch academic programs and athletics. So the goal is to really land in a situation like that. How do I make decisions for my kids? I think their education is what's paramount to me, because a pro career is only going to last but for so long. Now, how many pros can we say that we have witnessed over the course of their time that were smart with their money and were able to flip that into something business related that was able to carry them through the rest of their lives?
Longevity.
There aren't a whole lot. Now that number's starting to increase because more and more players are getting hip to, hey, I need to start doing and thinking about my future right now. But how I base my decisions for my kids is it's academics first and obviously athletics second. But I think that we have gotten to a situation where what is causing parents to flee from schools and go into those privatized types of situations is some school districts suffer from lack of quality coaching. And so as a resident and a taxpayer in a given city, if I know that my coach, or if I feel that my coach is subpar, or in certain cases, if you've done it, and you know what you know if you've been there and done it. So if you're in a situation where you feel as though the coaching is subpar and not enough is being provided, I got two choices. I can either stay here and supplement it by going to those personal trainers or going to getting that extra work in some type of way, paying somebody else. Or I can stay here and push that district to do more and provide more. In our case, in a place like Bedford, again, when I speak to resources, we have the opportunity, we have the ability to provide those things. It's just about the organization and the, Killer Mike, the mobilization. I feel like that's one thing, that's a big word with him whenever he's talking about things. So for us being able to utilize and mobilize those resources in a way that people can begin to see the benefit to our student athletes. So that, and again, what does that look like? Well, we had signing day. One of my first venture into Bedford was running a signing day, which, and that was me brand new off the cuff. Like I hadn't even signed a contract yet, but I said, well, you know what? I want to do this. I want to be, it's a good way for me to meet some kids. It's a good way for parents to see, hey, I'm attempting to get off on the right foot with everybody here. So a signing day and parents being able to witness seeing kids committing to going to colleges as student athletes. That's a big measuring stick and a big way to be able. That's evidence that what we're doing is working.
Okay.
Yes, you want to jump because I got something.
I want to jump on that.
Go ahead, my brother.
So with that being like the lottery ticket, or what you said, they can use that money to invest, and in a way that's still investing, because at that young age you're exposing your kid to so much that other kids don't get to see or participate in, and that's just gonna do nothing but broaden them for later on in life, because there's so many. Just like I always tell y'all, without sports I wouldn't have been in so many other rooms that I have been in before and know how to operate in those rooms, just from the culture of sports and the different cultures in sports that you got to deal with and get to know and know how to just coexist with. And just from being around the neighborhood, just like if you're a regular neighborhood guy, if you put in that position, you wouldn't know what to do. So I think that stuff, it's a lot of money. We can all agree that these parents are spending a lot of money on this youth stuff.
Yeah.
But I think in the long run, it'll pay off if, as a parent, you are conducting yourself right and conducting that kid in the right direction in order to absorb and just, like I said, expose themselves to so many different things. The travel is crazy. So many kids will not be in these places that they're going without being involved in that sport. So that can go a long way. That can give them confidence for later on in life. That can just give them that experience of traveling. Because you can go to like any high school now and take a regular Joe, not an athlete, and say, hey, you ever been to Miami? And they're like, no, I don't even see it on TV. But then you go to another kid that's an athlete, AAU kid. Oh, yeah, I've been to Miami like 4 times playing basketball at AAU. So that's just the exposure that athlete has had over that regular Joe that... And let's not forget, I'm biased answering this question.
No, this is hey man, this is the landmine that I wanted you to step on right here, bro. Boom, let it go.
Because the places I've been, minus where my grandfather has taken me, and my grandmother and my mother, but without sports, I never would have been to these places and never would have experienced these places and these people in those certain places that either was with me or I met there. And I still, to this day, have friends all across the country just because of that, just from being exposed to all of that. So I think you can look at it as if like, oh man, it's too much money. I wouldn't do that for my kid. Like, what are they doing? This is crazy. Or, and I'm not mad at you if you are to look at it like that, because I mean, if you haven't experienced it, you really don't know. But then you can also look at it like, man, we have so many programs now that'll help you pay for this AAU stuff, because a lot of parents, they're not really paying for this like out of their pocket. There's so many people that will help, so many programs that'll help. And then at the end, you're like, well, I gave little Kwame a good start, and now he can take that and just run with it after he gets in high school with these high school sports. And then now he has the hunger and the go-getting attitude to try to get that Division I, Division II, or Division III scholarship, whether it be in California, whether it be in, hell, like you said, you went to North Dakota to play.
Right.
Do you think you would have ever went to North Dakota if it wasn't for that?
No, it would have stayed on the map.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just, that's just how the world of athletics works, especially nowadays in this 2023 world with all these exposures and different tournaments and like you said, these kids facilities that are everywhere around the map. I think that's the plus to it.
Boy, oh boy, man.
Come on,
Give
man.
it to me, B.
Let's
I know you.
These two, you know, they got the most politically correct answer. You know, I ain't going politically correct. I applaud you, brothers. But I'm taking it first from the DJ side, from Hustle and Flow. Everybody got to have a dream, man. You know, and let's just face it, I've been on all sides of that. I've been with kids. I've seen kids out in Chagrin where you got people with surpluses of money who can afford. I've seen kids who don't belong. I'm going to just say it. They don't belong. Because, look, it's all about the advantage. Let's just face it. It's all like all the extra training, all the extra this and that. It's about an advantage. Parents pay all this money for their kid to have the advantage. You two are the positive side. But I've seen kids on the negative side too, as I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
Where what Zen is kind of getting at, and what I'm torn too. Some of them kids didn't belong in them programs. Some of
Absolutely.
them, you don't want to bust nobody bubble. You don't want to kill no dreams. But some of them, it's like, instead of paying that 10 grand for your kid to go, get them some tutoring. You know what I'm saying? Invest in a 529C for a college plan. You know, get them to college. Because what do you say, 5,000? That's
What?
5,000 NBA?
Oh yeah.
And what about that kid who that's all they knew and then they got hurt?
Yeah.
And they don't know nothing else. You know what I mean? So that's the other side of it, because I mean, I get where it take kids and to give them something, but what about that kid who don't get the PT? That kid on the end of the bench or on the bench who just can't dribble right. He got 3 left hands and 2 left feet. You know what I mean?
If he has 3 hands, he's a special kind of guy. But I totally agree with you. And that's the other side of it that I've also seen. You said you don't want to be a dream killer or whatever. Like
Right.
the youth and like, let's just say, 1st through 9th, definitely don't want to kill no dreams. But I'm the asshole. 10th, 11th, 12th. If you don't have that thing that you can just look at that kid and be like, oh yeah, like there's no question that he's special. There's no question that he's head over heels better than everybody. I don't want to hear no scholarship talk. Hey, look.
Right. But not a parent.
Take this and just enjoy the high school playing experience, because after high school, you'll probably never put a helmet on again.
Yeah, but the parent. Because a lot of parents live vicariously through their kids. Let's just face it. A lot of them, they ain't make it. They ain't gonna do
I
something.
will gladly have those conversations with the parent.
Right. So you'll say, your kid ain't good enough? Or how would you put it to the parent? I'm a parent. Put my son in the game. I'm paying all this money.
First of all,
Put my son in.
come
son.
to practice. See what your son is doing in practice.
See, look at him.
Second of all,
You see him?
when your son gets in,
It sounds like a real conversation.
I'm telling you, I done seen it all, man. I done seen it.
I live in a part of these conversations. So, second of all, when your son gets in, does he make a difference? And third of all,
You ain't giving him a chance to make a difference, coach.
and third of all,
You took him out with the first mistake.
absolutely, I
That was
did.
his fault.
And you know why I took him out?
Why?
Because you're living vicariously through him. So 9 times out of 10, he really doesn't want to do this anymore. It's really because of you. So taper down a little bit, let him enjoy himself, because after this, it might be over for the two of you.
Right. Right.
It's a decision you got to make. And I would rather tell somebody that and be labeled the asshole for telling somebody that, instead of just giving that false hope, because nobody ever gave me that false hope. Nobody ever gave anybody close to me that false hope. It was what it was. Nowadays, it's considered shaming, or you just too hard on a kid. But y'all know me. Gray is not my favorite color. Black and white. It's my 2 favorite colors.
It's just crazy though, because you see even these people that were great in basketball or whatever sport in high school, and they ain't doing nothing now. So all of that stuff where they seemed like they was going in a direction, like could have been put to something else. Should it have put? And at what
That's
point
that
do you
drive
be
you're
like,
talking about.
right? Like
Yeah,
what do
I
you?
agree.
You know what I mean? Like when do you have that balance? And I think that's where Zen was kind of going. Like where do you have that moment where they have to realize it, or maybe you as a friend, not just a coach, you as a friend, not just a coach, can you even communicate that to them? Or do you communicate it to them? Like,
You do.
Yeah, right.
You do. I think you, which is why it's also important to, I think in speaking to you, in speaking to your point of, there's a lot of guys who were great in high school who they washed out, they had an injury, and it's like they got nothing left because that was all they knew. So again, coming back to my original comment of pushing education first, and again, not to say that people aren't, but making sure that my kids know that I value their other interests outside of athletics as well. So my son loves to cook too. So we try to create as many scenarios at home where, hey, it's Sunday dinner, what we having? And
It's on you, brother.
again,
yeah, I love that.
so getting to making sure that kids realize that we as adults are not just connected to them and cheering them on because of what they can do on the court. Because at the end of the day, one could easily say that, again, people who live vicariously through their kids, some coaches could be mistaken that they're coaching just for themselves as opposed to making sure that they are doing this for kids or what's in the best interest of kids. Now, I do believe that every head coach needs to have some ego to them. I believe that, because how else are you going to be the person to make that call when it's 4th and goal and you need to make the right decision?
Right.
And sometimes there are going to be people in the headset telling you, no, don't do that. I'm doing it. You know what I mean? There comes that point where you have to make that call. So I think every good coach needs to have some ego, but at the same time, you need to it's important to make sure that the perception is that, and again, I'll use Deion. Deion's a hot topic. It's hard the way that Deion walks his walk and talks his talk to say that he's not in this for his kids. It's hard to say that. Now, could somebody pick out one specific thing and make that an issue? Yeah. But again, you could point out something like that about every college coach and even a lot of high school coaches. You could find some skeletons, find something to complain about.
That built that false ego.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I do think that to a certain extent, it's about making sure that your kids realize that there is more to them than what they can do with a ball. Okay. And I'm saying that as an athletic director.
And I'm so happy you said that. I'm going to say one more.
There you go.
I'm so happy you said that. And I'm so happy you brought Coach Prime, because that's exactly what he's doing. It's bigger than football. It's about how they view themselves, how they view towards the world, and also the respect level that they give to others around them. So I'm happy to hear you say that. And I want to see, and I'm curious to see, because I think I know what program you talking about. We ain't going to say no names, but I know some people that went through that program. And some of them kids, I know they helped push them through because it didn't matter. That's all that mattered was that sport. So, and it was about the jewelry too. But anyway, so how can you as an athletic director really make education a priority for your players?
So Coach E can attest to this. One of the programs that we brought in, and again, he gets mad when I give him credit, but I have to. Dan Brenton, our assistant AD, as we were kind of figuring out eligibility for the fall.
Right.
One of the things that he did was he listed GPAs for me. And so what we decided, the brainchild from that was every child who finished last school year, meaning fourth quarter, they finished the fourth quarter with a 3.0 or better GPA. We created what was called a preseason academic All-American team. So every fall sport every sport this year will have that.
Okay.
Now there's perks with that too, as far as in district. Number one, your name's on the list. It gets blasted out across the district, and I blasted to obviously everybody in the high school, but I also blasted to the middle school. A lot of those kids came to the middle school. I blasted to Carrollwood. I blasted to Central. So a lot of our kids came all the way through. So it's cool for those teachers to see the impact that they had on those kids and see that those kids are still meeting expectation. Okay. Now, again, a caveat to that is those kids also get in free to games. So like all the football players who are on that list, they get into every football game again, which let's talk freshmen. I mean, a lot of your freshmen are playing varsity. They get into every volleyball game. They get into every soccer game for free. So that's one of the things that we're doing to promote academics across the board. And that's going to carry on all year. So the kids in a fall sport who in the first quarter 3.0 or better for the quarter, they will get into every winter in it. So they'll get into all the hoop games for free.
Okay.
So that's one thing that we're doing. I think just in general, I think it's important to make sure that the teachers are aware that that's what we're doing as an athletic department as well. Mm-hmm. Again, I think sometimes people hear athletics and they think that that's the only thing that I'm worried about in terms of my agenda. It's one of the things that I'm worried about. But again, okay, I was a high school athlete, but I never went beyond North Dakota. So I had to fall back on my education.
Right.
And so, and there were things that when you get there, it's like, man, I wish I'd have paid attention because now I got to relearn a lot of this stuff. So, but again, it's getting our kids to realize that they need to take advantage of their opportunities to be educated, because 5,000 guys walking around with NBA access, that's not a lot. So now, and here's the other thing, if you're thoroughly educated, you can find ways to continue to make money. And that's what I believe. And so I had one parent who, I'll never forget this. I was listening to a group of coaches try to recruit this boy away from his high school. His high school was predominantly involved in academics, but he was a big, strong, physical kid. And they were trying to have the conversation with the dad to bring him to another high school where athletics was prominent. And dad's response was, no disrespect, but I'm teaching him to own the team, not play on it. And so that comment resonated with me. And again, I don't think it was meant as a shot at the coaches in insinuating that they don't put academics first. But I think in going back to my agenda for my own kids, I'm very, very big on them making sure that they are doing well in school. And I try not to put them in situations. My knuckleheaded son, he hears this, he knows I call him knucklehead. I stay on him about his grades and things of that nature, because you only get but so many shots at this. And colleges now are so competitive from a student standpoint. Nobody can just walk into Ohio State just because you got the tuition money. Like, you have to qualify. And so that means they need to know that if they bring you on campus, you can handle the load academically. So it's a competitive world out here, not just for our athletes, but for students in general to be able to land jobs. I mean, I think someone told me there were roughly 20 to 30 people that were shooting for the job that I was blessed enough to get here in Bedford. So, I'd like to think that my experience and how I carried myself, and was able to speak and kind of, again, pull a Deion, walk my walk and talk my talk. I'd like to think that went a long way with, people that were responsible for doing the hiring. But I would not have been able to do all that without the experience, but more importantly, without the education to be able to put me in the room to do it.
Okay. And I just want to throw this little caveat for those that's not preseason academic All-Americans. If you could have something to help incentivize them to do better than they did the previous before, even if they don't make it to 3.0, if they able slowly build up to that status, if you had some type of incentive program for that as well too, I think that'd be great for them as well too.
Yes.
But I got one more question, then we'll get to the fun stuff. And you know what? We'll go straight to the fun stuff. So one of the things,
Fire away.
Let's get to it. Let's get to the fun stuff.
I mean,
I'm positive like an HIV test.
you positive?
I want to get to the fun stuff.
Okay. I was gonna say after that, delirious if you positive.
So one of the things you brought up was prime time. I do want to know, what's your take on it from the athletic director's perspective? What is it that helps him resonate with what he's doing right now? And since everything is such a copycat league, what do you think is going to stick around and you see other universities start to do as well?
Yeah. So I think from the standpoint of what Prime's impact is, and so from an athletic director perspective, I think if you need to give your program a shot and if you want to put them back on the map, you have to have a big name coach. I mean, you look at the programs, everyone knows who the head football coach of Ohio State is. Everyone knows who the head football coach of Clemson is. Everyone knows who the head football coach of Alabama is. These are known individuals. These are big time programs. So in Prime's case, he had the playing career, so that catapulted him into the opportunity to be on television. But at the same time, he didn't allow that to be the only thing that defined him. He continued to coach and he focused on his kids. And so that's what put him at, I forget the name of the prep, was it Prime Prep, his high school in Texas? Yeah. So I think while he was kind of going about the business of making his money, it was almost like the TV thing and everything he was doing was his way of being able to fund a lot of the stuff and the ventures that he wanted to partake in from an educational perspective, which all the while he was smart enough to know, because he had just been through it, how the game works and what he needed to be able to give his sons or any of the kids that were involved with that academy. And he went about the business of doing it. So, and I think through him being successful, at that stop, and then successful at his collegiate stop, and at his first collegiate stop, and now being successful at Colorado. I think what it's done is it's opened up avenues, hopefully, for other, we could say African American, but I would hope professional athletes who aspire to be coaches, but who have put in the work. One of the biggest knocks on professional athletes being placed in coaching positions is they haven't put in the work yet to be named the head coach somewhere. And we've got plenty of other qualified minority candidates who have been assistant coaches and have worked their way up from GA to position to coordinator, and they're getting passed over. So in Prime's case, he had put the time in at every stop. Now, being Prime helps. Yeah, I mean, no doubt.
Helps a lot.
It helps a lot. But it was good for me. It was refreshing for me to see that he went from high school and then into the college aspect, and now he's at Boulder. So I think that stuff like that helps. I think that what he's doing, and Prime's not a fool. He's got quality football minds around him at Colorado. Sean, the OC, that dude took the Kent program and put it, boom, like back on the map. And honestly, my prediction is Sean ain't gonna be there long. The way Shedeur Sanders is throwing the football and the way they're putting points up, somebody's gonna be knocking on his door. Probably already are. You know what I mean? But I also think that's the game too in coaching.
Yep.
If you want to get somewhere, you got to go somewhere and put on a show to be able to be given that next shot. Oh, if he can do that here and he did it there, oh, well, then he could definitely come here with all we have to offer him and be that guy. So I think that having Prime and having him being able to deliver that steady message, and it helps tremendously that he is a minority. It does, because I do believe that there are certain situations where, unfortunately, minorities are overlooked. But from the standpoint of being that athletic director, and let's take the guy in Colorado. Well, I got boosters who get a chance to weigh in heavily on the decisions that I make, because that's where a lot of the money comes from. So you do have to take their input into account. I think a lot of, let's say, pro teams or collegiate teams, they probably would like to be able to give more opportunities, but we live in an age athletically where we need to win now. You said that. We need to win now. We don't have time to watch somebody grow. So if I know that I'm on a limited contract as an administrator at college, do I want to risk giving some first timer a shot, or do I want to go with somebody who I know has been in this position and has had some success? The probability that he's going to succeed here, basically what I have to offer him, probably outweighs the chance that this guy who needs a shot but has not done it somewhere else is going to be successful. It's tough, because how do you overcome that? How do I get to be the guy who has experience if nobody will give me experience? You know what I mean?
That's always the best.
So, but Prime is doing great, and you said it, he's making it about more than football. And I think one thing that is huge is we all watched that Colorado State game. I stayed up to watch it. I'm mad. I fell asleep with about 3 minutes left, and then woke up and everybody was celebrating. But you could tell throughout the game that certain things were being done to try and ignite an issue with the Colorado players.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You could tell.
Yep.
And Prime's resolve and the resolve of his team in not feeding into it speaks volumes to the message that he's providing to his boys. The standard that he's setting, which is, we're just gonna play. Do you? And what was huge for me, because we've seen brawls in collegiate games for less. You know what I mean? So to see Travis take that shot on the Colorado sideline and nobody took a step forward to engage or jump in that kid's face. Now Shedeur came down and got him some, but that to me shows resolve, and that shows boys who are well coached and they're disciplined. And stereotypically, people will, in certain circles, that's the thing that it is said that a lot of programs lack, is discipline. So that in itself, in an isolated moment, obviously we hate to see that happen to Travis, but I was very impressed with what did not happen, even though that happened right on their sideline. Because that could have got ugly very quickly.
Very
But you could tell that they've been coached and it's been drilled into their heads. That's not what we do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's good.
I was surprised that Norvell came out with the comments. So, he was playing dirty. He clearly had the dirty squad.
Yeah.
100%.
And I don't even watch a lot of college. He was proud of me. I watched that game. Yeah, I watched that game.
Were you entertained?
Right.
I was very entertained.
Thank you.
I was
Thoroughly.
very, very entertained.
Thoroughly.
And,
You've been missing for years?
well, no,
This
big
man
fella.
doesn't watch college.
All of them ain't that entertaining.
He just doesn't watch
College hoop?
football.
Do you watch college hoop though?
No, not
He
really.
don't watch college
Anything
nothing.
college, he has it.
Okay.
It's so many games, so many
It's-
teams.
it is.
It's weird
You-
conferences. It's
And
just crazy.
it's almost hard to remain a fan because the rosters turn over so
Yeah.
drastically every
Transfer
year.
portal.
Like it is very, and again, we speak to, you mentioned transfer portal. So that is a conversation that I've had with multiple kids at Bedford already about it's not enough for you to just be a good football player. The scholarship opportunities are limited. And now, again, if I'm a coach and I've only got a 2-3 year deal and I'm being told by my AD, you need to go get it done or I'm going to go get somebody else.
Oh, I'm about to hit this.
So
portal.
I'm about to hit this portal and find me guys who I've watched do it on this level and go get them. Rather than take a chance on you coming out of high school and you maybe being great, but maybe not.
Dad, that's what the conversation was for, Dad. Transfer portal. You said it got to be different, Dad.
Yeah, but look,
I took him out the game.
he is different. You don't got the vision. You can't see.
Call me
You
Ray
biased.
Charles.
And we're back.
You got your favorites.
Call me Ray Charles.
But hey, transfer portal real quick, Zen. Transfer portal. Did Dion Trump up like Donald Trump?
2024.
Did he mess up the transfer portal?
Not
Because
at
he
all.
took more than anybody else, correct?
He took a
He
huge
took
amount of kids.
86?
It's over 2,000 in the portal.
Right. So
He
now,
didn't mess it up at all.
just like Trump's with politics, he showed what can be done. It's like it's like take a penny from the jar. He took 86 pennies. Now is everybody gonna do that?
No, it could, because that's very situational. That team was so bad, he had no choice but to do that. So anybody else hitting the transfer portal is not going to need that many people urgently. Like
It's still
at
bad
that time.
teams though right now, right? It's
No,
some
I mean,
bad
it still
teams.
is bad teams. But Prime is not going to that bad team and trying to turn it around. Those teams that have bad coaches that have been fired,
Yeah.
they don't have the certain je ne sais quoi as Prime does
Right.
in order to pull those kids. Because the coach can approach you all he wants, but the kid has to agree and buy into what he's selling you. So if I'm a kid in the transfer portal, why wouldn't I buy in to what Dion is selling me?
Well, that's
So-
good.
Yeah, no, that's
Everybody
good.
can't play for Prime.
Exactly.
So now can Norvell go build up from the rejects?
No, because
Can he, you know what I mean?
Norvell is, kids saw what he was about. Like, he used that opportunity to try to build himself up.
Yeah.
And now kids only see him as that hating ass coach that hate Dion.
But what about
They don't want to go play for that.
like
No,
Zen
no,
was
no,
look-
no.
But that's what I'm saying. What
No, no,
about
no.
Zen was looking for at Jackson State, where he was saying it'd be other rivals, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't this be the start of other rivals? The kids that got kicked off the team.
This is where I
Yeah,
disagree.
yeah.
This is exactly.
You know what
This
I'm
is
saying?
where I disagree with Coach E. You say that hating coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everybody's a fan of Dion.
No.
And for those who are not a fan of Dion,
They're not
they
going
got
to
the
Colorado
antithesis in Jay Norvell
Now,
that they can
right.
go to
Yes.
and play for. He did a wonderful job.
He did.
Yes. No, I
Right, he
totally
did.
disagree with
That's what
that.
I was like,
Hey, fellas, that
It's
sounds
time.
good. Sitting on the couch in Magna. Try selling that to a kid in a transfer portal.
let's
Talk
see what
about
happens
selling
in
it
the
to a
offseason.
parent who's not a fan of what Dion
Yeah.
is doing.
That parent ain't making a decision.
Man, you
Getting
telling me
in and out
that
of
parent is
transfer.
not going to have an influence on their kids?
Especially as a
To a certain
black man.
extent.
Exactly.
They're not the ones going and have to put up with all that.
But everybody can't play for Dion, so now
Not
it's
at all.
like it's like, look, we want to run a program where we take our hats and sunglasses off. We be respectful. Not only did he look at that, but he intensified it. He brought his players hat, sunglasses. He did an interview. He brought out Lil Wayne. It's like, you don't like my hip hop? Let me go extra hip hop.
Yeah.
So now Novell can sit back. Hey, if you don't want your kid over there with Suge Knight, Puffy dancing in the video, wearing all that, then come over to Death Row. Come to Colorado State. Let's go bring this man down.
Nobody's going to Colorado State.
All right, let's see what happens. Is it all season in college? Because
We'll see it. We'll see it. We'll see. It remains to be seen.
They got a tall order in front of them Saturday. They got Oregon.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
This is when it gets
really
real.
see.
Yeah, this is when it gets real.
Yeah.
And they not gonna have Travis Hunter, so it's really gonna get real.
Right.
MVP Sanders. I'm saying it now.
Here we go with the MVP.
MVP, yes. Rob MVP.
Or we could just say Heisman.
Yeah.
MVP, Rob.
We got to touch on it real quick before we get out of here. We got to talk about that game on Monday night, Browns Steelers.
Was it a game?
Yes, it was.
Look. I came in, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to approach this. Then manna just came from the heavens and said, hey, put this together. B gonna love this. So you've been talking about 230, Deshaun Watson.
So glad you started
this whole
with
time.
Love it.
After Monday night's game, the pundits have had a field day with old Deshaun. And one is Nick Wright from First Things First.
Yep.
Got a 17-minute conversation that I've condensed to 2 minutes. I want y'all to hear. I know assistant coach B,
I need a prop.
Here we go.
he gonna love this. So
Baker Mayfield.
Are you surprised Deshaun Watson hasn't bounced back?
No, he's not good anymore.
Nope.
Period.
It's not coming back, and he knows it. And that was, I think you saw it manifesting itself in those bizarre face mask penalties. And I think it was born out of frustration, born out of the fact that he's not as escapable as he once was, born out of the fact that it has been years since he was a winning quarterback, almost as long since he had any signs of being a good quarterback. And right now, he's objectively, since his return from his suspension last year and now into this year, a bottom 5 quarterback in football, with no reason to believe that is going to change. This is going to go down as one of the worst transactions in all of sports history. The Browns Kevin Stefanski is going to pay with his job.
Correct.
But in the meantime, there's going to have to keep running him out there. You seem shocked, Brew. I'm shocked you're shocked.
I love it.
So
I'm not ready to say he'll never be a decent quarterback.
If you put last year on rust, right?
Yeah.
Came back this year. He was bad in camp. We started to hear bad things in camp. Like, he hasn't completed 2
Back-to-back
passes in a row.
passes in practice for the first 2 weeks of camp.
So here's...
And when you look at the fact that, by the way, they're still, this coming draft, they owe their first and their third round pick to Houston for Deshaun. Their decision to, no matter what you think of Baker Mayfield, they would have, objectively speaking, been better writing out Baker for another year.
Wow.
They've traded away the 13th pick of a draft, the 12th pick of a draft, the upcoming draft first round pick, 2 fourths, and an upcoming third.
fellas,
Round of applause.
So glad.
Seeing putting the clip together.
Yes.
fellas, the floor is yours.
Go right ahead, B. You know how I roll.
Man.
Go ahead.
First and foremost, I would say, because I know where you're going, that line stinks. I've been saying it for years. We are not a pass block line. I've been saying it for years. It is manifest. It is shown. I'm not talking about bright spots like my son B, talking about Jones. He hollering. One side ain't good enough. The man do need time, but he can't hide behind Nick Chubb anymore. Chubb gone. First game, it was defense. It was Nick Chubb. And I was like, they had time to put together something. It's totally unacceptable to lose to the Steelers. I don't care how you spin this, E. It's totally unacceptable because this hat I'm got on, thank you, Baker Mayfield, beat the Steelers in the playoffs. Last quarterback to beat them. From the first play of the drive, I know you're going to say, well, deflected off the man's hands. That pass was trash. The passes that followed was trash. Look, here go Watson. Throwing you a pass. It's short. It's baby arm. And then he looked like Charlie Fry.
Wow.
Because we played a 4 from a 9, and how he did because the times the line didn't break down, he had happy feet. He was rolling all around, and then the times where he was trying to put it, he was really trying hard. I give him that, but he's the deuce to a try hard. And in the video game world, that's bad. That's real bad. When you try hard, you try hard, but you ain't getting it done. And he ain't getting it done. And we lost to the Steelers on Monday Night Football with Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
Baker ball. 317. We ain't gonna talk about Baker though. We 317, 2-0 against Watson.
He get to sit and be proud right now.
Balled out. So I'm gonna give you the floor, man. It's unacceptable though. You supposed to go out there. You supposed to kill Kenny Pickett. When Chubb went down, I said, okay, 230. Here go your chance. Yes. Let me see something. I saw nothing. Now let me see what you could pull out the rabbit in your hat. Let's see what you got. Cause you smiling like kid on Christmas.
Because everything you said, I know you so well. Everything you said, I was anticipating you saying, and my rebuttal is exactly what I knew it was going to be. For one, who did we lose to yesterday? The Steelers?
The Steelers, right.
Who was their coach?
Tomlin.
Who was our coach?
Stefanski.
That's strike number one.
Okay.
We will forever get out-coached by Mike Tomlin. I don't care who he has on his team. It is still his team. It is still his way. It is still the way he coaches, the way they believe in him, and the way his track record shows that what he's telling you and what he don't even have to sell you anything. What he does and what he has done with less talent, still have never had a losing record, correct? Mm-hmm. Now fast forward to Stefanski. No, I'll even, one more point. That challenge at the end of the first quarter when Deshaun Watson fumbled. First of all, I've never seen a challenge to see who recovered a fumble ever. Mm-hmm. You are never supposed to challenge that.
Right.
If that's the case, you would have a challenge every fumble, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That shouldn't have happened. That officiating crew was pretty bad. So he knew to challenge that. That's a great freaking coaching job right there alone. They got the ball, they put time back on the first quarter, and they ended up doing what with that drive? That was the Pickens play.
Right.
In the second quarter. They rolled into the second quarter. Now, as far as the Deshaun Watson, how much money does Kenny Pickett make?
I mean, they give him a pack of squares and probably some jungle juice.
How much money does Patrick Mahomes make?
He make a lot, $500 million.
How much money does Anthony Richardson make?
Who is that?
My point is exactly why every time anything happens with Deshaun Watson, everybody just leads with 230. Why is that?
I got an answer for that.
How much
guaranteed.
money? Yeah. So is that, for one, a bad thing or his fault? Or is that what he was worth at that time because he got that money?
He wasn't worth
No,
it.
it's not a bad thing if you show and prove that it was justified.
He's showing and proving with the swag.
Okay, so has Deion had 2 years off of professional football at the quarterback position? And when you come back from your 2-year break from professional football, you are led by Kevin Stefanski's play calling. Kevin Stefanski trotted out 3 tight ends and had one of them blocking one of the best pass rushers of all time, freeing up anybody else. Highsmith is not a horrible pass rusher on the other side. That leaves everybody else one-on-one. Also, that leaves the blitz wide open. You have a tackle and a tight end blocking one of the best pass rushers in the world, correct? Mm-hmm. Which means you only have 2 receivers running routes. Mm-hmm. Where's he supposed to go? And how fast is he supposed to go and get the ball to them? And not to mention, you have 5 people dropping in the secondary, covering 2 eligible receivers because you have one tight end blocking on one side, the other tight end chipping and then running the route. By the time he's done chipping the Highsmith pass rusher, there's no time to do whatever. Not saying he's playing good. He's actually playing bad. Not making no excuses for that.
Okay, I wonder.
What do you want him to do? He played 6 games last year, correct? Horrible games.
Awful.
2 years. 2 years.
Come on, E. How long, man?
6 games, they were horrible.
Yeah.
And he's doing worse.
He's doing worse. Right.
That's the problem.
Preseason was bad.
Are y'all even paying attention to the play calling?
But
That never like goes in the
yes,
play, like, y'all
and
don't
I
think about
normally
that
would ride with
whatsoever?
you. I know, because you know we brothers in Hayden Stefanski.
Yes.
But Stefanski and Watson, Pinky and the Brain, play the tape. They've been in all off season tweaking this playbook. Watson's hands is all over this playbook.
No, it's not.
How many times did we run the option zone read last year? None.
No, we ran it quite a bit.
With who?
With Chubb and Watson.
No, I'm talking about before Watson.
Yeah,
That's a Watson play.
Yeah, you're not going to run a zone read with Brissett.
Exactly.
It's not a zone read quarterback.
Don't throw that out the book.
No, that's his asset.
That is his asset,
So
normally.
why wouldn't you?
Because look what happened on that play you was talking about. It was third down, actually. It was third and then it was fourth.
Yeah.
You got Nick Chubb. Chubb was still in.
And who called the play?
Running
To
up
run
the
an
middle.
Option.
Right.
He chose to call not just a zone read option, the old school
The old
option.
school option.
Who
Right.
does that?
Right. Exactly.
So,
Bad players don't even do that. It's in the book, though.
so is that Deshaun's fault?
To a degree, yes.
How to?
Because
what
you
degree?
in there with Stefanski. Stefanski trusts Watson.
They put together a playbook.
Right.
He is not calling those plays that highlights his strengths whatsoever. Zero.
But isn't his strengths, whether it's the fake zone read, like you said, the rollouts, that's what I'm saying his strengths are. Under duress, but that's not a play call, of course.
How many times did we do that last night?
We did it a lot.
No, we didn't.
It just looks so bad you ain't recognize
No,
it.
we didn't do it.
What?
We did not run a zone replay at all last night. Everything Chubb had was either off tackle or in the A gap. There was no zone read. It was straight drop back handoff.
And
there
Chubb was killing.
zone read.
He was killing before he got killed.
Exactly.
So, I'm sorry, bro.
So, and you said with Chubb gone, now we have to see if Deshaun is going to lead the team. How is he about to lead the team with no running game?
Because
No running game. They're about to drop everybody in coverage because there's no threat of the run.
it starts with Kareem.
That sets up. Really, Kareem Hunt is going to save
Ford
the day.
ain't it. Because Ford
No,
stink.
Ford is not it.
Right.
Kareem Hunt is not it. Chubb is
Guy in
it.
Indianapolis sitting around.
Yeah.
We don't have the assets to go get him now. That's the bad
Well, I
part.
wonder why. 230?
See?
I wonder why.
That's
That's
the
why.
thing.
When you take that guaranteed
Y'all
money,
have to stop
you gotta
this
start.
230,
Just
though.
like you gotta stop saying it's been too long. E, this is an intervention.
How
this
is
ain't
it
even a
too long?
podcast.
How is it too long?
You started out. You said it was going to be 15
This was
minutes.
week 2. Yeah,
a half.
I was totally wrong with that.
It's been 6 games.
He was never
It's
let
been
you
a year.
that one
Never.
down.
I was totally wrong with
It's
that.
been a year. It's been off season.
No. It's been 8 games.
No, it's been off
He played
season.
6 last year.
He took the
and
team.
2
They
Doesn't
kumbaya
matter.
with fuzzy
That's not
robes and
game
slippers.
action. He needs game reps. That's not game action. You can practice all you want to. You
Okay.
can script plays all you want to. Remember what our conversation last year? Stefanski is decent on script plays.
Yeah.
Whenever he goes off the script, you see what kind of horrible adjustments he fails to make. He never made one adjustment last night. He kept running the same empty set with 3 tight ends and 2 receivers.
Man, it was all
You
bad.
leaving your man, you leaving 230 out to dry. So if it's 230, act like it's 230 and give him some damn protection and
Same
give him
thing he
a
was
better
doing
play
with Baker,
call.
huh?
No,
Well.
no, that's not the same thing he was doing with Baker.
Oh.
Baker did not run a 3 tight end set at all.
Man, that was
Baker
our
had
main
5
play.
No, he had 5 receivers. He had 5 receivers.
I see
He
a
did
lot
not
of
run a
tight
3
ends.
He didn't run a 3
I'm
tight end
gonna
set.
go find some footage.
In empty, he did not run a 3 tight end set. In the run game, he ran a 3 tight end set, but he was giving the ball to Chubb. In the passing game, Baker never had 3 tight end set. He had 5 receivers.
And I seen, who was it? Bryant. I seen Njoku and Cooper last year. Well, a year with Baker.
Who's Cooper?
Cooper.
Amari.
No, not Cooper.
Yeah, he's
it
not
was
tight
another tight end. Come on, y'all know it was another tight end.
We didn't have another tight end?
Yes, we did. We had 3 of them. Because I was like,
running
wow,
Farrell was here last year.
In the running game.
I'm talking about in the passing because Baker
Not-
threw
not
a lot.
spread, not
3
spread.
tight end set. Don't worry, I'm gonna
Spread.
find you some footage.
We had Coop. We had
Expect some footage.
DPJ. We had, what's the young boy? Number 18.
David.
from Purdue.
David.
Bill.
Yeah.
Bill. And we had another receiver. Hell, we even had Jarvis Landry in there as well.
The
And
fast
Joe
guy that
Saint,
could
yeah.
catch Schwartz.
Yeah, and Schwartz. That was the 5 right there.
I'ma give
he
you some
never
footage.
came out in 3 tight ends with the empty set, not giving him a chance whatsoever.
I'ma
And not
give
to
you some
mention
footage.
the pressure that they were putting on us. Just like you said.
Yeah, the pressure was
offensive
crazy.
line, horrible pass block.
Yeah.
Horrible. Run game,
The pressure
awesome.
was awful.
Awesome
Right.
run
Oh
game.
wow, y'all on
offensive
the same page.
I've been yelling this for years since Baker was
I
here.
totally agree with that. Run game, one of the best offensive lines in the game.
Thank you,
Pass
sir.
block, horrible. One of the worst in the game. Wyatt Teller is not a pass blocker. He's
No.
just not. He's a mauler. I used to call him that every single
What is
time.
it,
last year.
Wheels or Wales? Who's that bum? Why is he still
So,
here?
I have no idea.
So the last team to grind their way running wise to a Super Bowl was that Ravens team.
Yeah.
With Trent
And that's been a
Dilfer.
while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think we can safely say Deshaun Watson is better than Trent Dilfer.
Can we?
Absolutely.
Can we?
So I think we can safely say that.
That's why you thinking of Trent Dilfer because he looked like Trent Dilfer this season.
But
So wait, I got one
total,
question.
2 games this
One
year.
question, E, because it sounded to me like you setting up an excuse reel already.
Not at all.
Give me a number. Give me a realistic number of game. What game this year by you think
Give
all
him-
this 10-man rust gonna be gone?
Give him to the end of October. You will see drastic improvements.
Game what? What's that?
I'll say about game 6, 7. You will see
I'm gonna
drastic
give you game
improvement
7.
if Kevin Stefanski does not continue to call these horse shit plays. His play calling is absolutely horrible. Did you hear the after game interview with TJ Watt yesterday?
What do you say?
He literally said on that fumble pickup that he scored to seal the game, he purposely went on a stunt. They called the stunt for him to start at defensive end, wrap around, come to the center as a nose tackle, and then rush. He said, I asked to do that because these plays were so predictable. I wanted to give it a chance to develop, and then I see where I'm going.
They ain't all on the coach. They predictable.
How's that not on the coach?
Because
He's
with-
calling the play.
They did it together, but what you always say, they try to play the strength of the player. So maybe Watson is so limited that
Stefanski does
he ain't
not
got
know
much.
how to do that.
Oh, y'all
You wanna-
drowning out the guest. The guest, I'm
I'm
sure
sorry,
got something.
man.
Sorry, brother.
Y'all ain't letting him. I mean, a word in edgewise.
I did a lot of talking already. So I'll say this. I think that the Browns are a running team that needs to be able to run the football to throw it. They thrive off of play action. And if you take a look back at Stefanski's time, even in Minnesota, I believe it was Minnesota before he was here. You know, he loves tight end sets because they were able to run the football successfully. Because that was did he do time with Dalvin? When Dalvin took there?
Yes.
So that Minnesota team ran the football extremely well, and Kirk Cousins, as much as people want to make him out to be a guy who spins the football all over the place, he's not that guy. They were a play action team. Now, Diggs was a dude,
Yeah.
but that Minnesota team was built off of its defense, and they were able to run the football successfully, which led to play action opportunities. And I think that that's what he's attempting to do here. But now the problem is you don't have your workhorse anymore. So, and again, we point to our offensive line is great coming off the ball.
Yes,
we're not
firing
good.
off.
We're not good on our heels
At all.
So, and that's that. Now he built this
Exactly.
so now it's okay. Well, how do we figure this out? I just thought watching the play calling, I just see all this drop back, and it's like Pittsburgh knew all we need to do is crowd the box.
They admitted
They're not
that.
going to be able to run a football. And I think Pittsburgh just said we're flat out good enough to cover y'all. And when you look at us,
another point.
do we have a Diggs running around out there?
No.
Who can get up? I mean, okay, Elijah Moore is a speedster, but he's a guy. He's almost like a take the top off type of guy. He's not a I'm gonna be all over the place and getting open. It's more like I'm gonna put pressure on you guys on the back end and try to separate and create holes for Amari and the other guys to work underneath.
With that being said, he just said Elijah Moore is a take the top off the defense kind of guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess who puts him in the backfield and just motions them crazy? The defense don't even respect that motion. They don't even move on that Elijah Moore motion.
Well, copycat league though, right?
Yeah.
The Niners did that with Debo via Mike, and now he's in Miami doing it with Tyreek.
Exactly.
So everyone I heard somebody mention they see him being in that Debo Tyreek Hill. I forget. And again, it could have been. I don't know if it was a coach or like an analyst, but it's a copycat league.
Elijah Moore is not Debo Samuel.
Right. And he ain't Tyreek Hill.
Either one. so he should not be in those situations.
Right.
He should be spread out wide where he is a wide receiver doing his job, taking the top off the defense, using his talents out there. They really ran him in between the tackles yesterday.
Well, I know why. Because the ball wasn't getting out there.
Yeah.
It can't get out there. And then when he threw him to him, he overthrew him to the side, to the cheerleader. He hit a hot dog vendor. He hit the guy in the beer cart man.
He hit the first down marker as well.
He hit everybody except them targets downfield. Now, them cute little 5-yard passes was cute.
So when he had time, he didn't hit Amari Cooper on very good balls down the sideline?
He had a couple.
Yeah.
But he had more
When
that
he
was
had
off.
time.
When he had time.
Deliver the balls.
We'll say the 10 times he had time. The
He
10, 12 times.
6-7 balls, right?
And I'll tell you this.
I didn't give you that many.
Another thing I recognized was a lack of ability
to get open.
to pick up. I mean, we call it blitz read. So receivers need to know if my guy is coming off the edge, I've got to break off my route now.
Yep, break the route.
I didn't feel like I saw that in some cases.
So is that 230's fault?
Play the tape. I said that's going to be his strong point when the receivers understand that too. You got to break route and know that this line is shit and you got to break route.
So
he's going to be under duress.
Don't break route on a horrible play call and he's sitting back there running for his life, what do you expect?
That's why I'm not bashing him on them plays. But the plays that I saw he was open, I didn't see no delivery. I saw zero. I wanted to come in here and give him some kudos because the line was trash. Last night, Zen see me. I was like, because B and my son was going back and forth. And he was arguing about the line. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to give him something. But even at the end of the night, what he said, he was like, Watson is trash. And he is the biggest Watson fan on the planet.
I'm not going to jump to that conclusion.
You can't tell me. Oh, you already said he was trash last night. Okay.
Yeah, I say he didn't play well last night.
Because he gonna kill us.
I'm not going trash.
Right.
I'm not going trash at all. I refuse to go trash.
How many steps above trash will you give him? 1, 2, 3.
10.
Because Nick Wright saying he's a bottom 5 quarterback.
Man, he's looking like it right now.
No. I want to end it on that. Is he as of right now? Is he a bottom 5 quarterback?
With the stats that he had,
You look at the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I'm about to sit here and say
Not the stats, no. We ain't failing out with the stats.
No.
We're talking with the play and the decision making the play.
with the play,
right,
you have to go to the play calling.
But they together on the play calling.
How? No, they're not.
They always said they was huddled up together.
You can huddle up together and make up this good playbook, but if you are ignoring 5 pages of the playbook and just calling a paragraph of the playbook, that's not helping. It's just not. So with all these pundits, yeah, that's low-hanging fruit. Let's pile on Deshaun and the Browns because he makes $230 million guaranteed. That's always going to be their go-to line. But why can't you sit here and literally see what is going on? We have a horrible coach as a head coach. We have a horrible play caller as offensive coordinator / head coach, which means everything else is not going to be in place. You see what happened to the defense. We was talking about the defensive coordinator last year. Horrible. Damn near the same guys this year. Totally different defense, correct? Because why? The play call. He's putting them in better positions that fits their skill set to make them make plays. That's all I'm
They just
asking for.
got tired last night. That's all. To me, they just got gas, man.
No, they really didn't. Because another stat that I hope y'all paid attention to, Pittsburgh never made it past the 30-yard line.
Yeah,
all
they
night.
got Kenny Pickens. I wouldn't expect that.
Right. That's the point.
But Kenny
They shut
Pickens
that
had
down.
just as many yards as Deshaun Watson, 230.
Because
Kenny
if you
Pickens.
look at the game, he had one long catch, a 71-yard touchdown, and then he had another chunk yard. It was like another 30-yard pass. That's 100 yards right there off of 2 plays. Everything
Nice.
else was dink and dunk to Warren, which I sat there and I called that. It was a play right before the Kenny Pickens. What's the receiver's name again?
George Pickens.
George Pickens. Before that touchdown, his very first long 71-yard touchdown, it was second and long, second and like 17. Warren came out of the backfield. They threw the ball to him on the wheel route. It was 3 defenders around him. He made 2 of them miss. The third person brought him down, and he gained 11 or 12 yards out of that 17 back. And I told Sharon, I said, well, this is how the game of football works. If we would have held him to a 5-yard gain, a big play wouldn't happen after that. If you don't take care of your business on that play when you're supposed to, the very next play in football, you're going to get burnt. True to form, very next play, we went to cover 4. Denzel bailed, everybody bailed. Middle of the field was wide open. Emerson tried to catch him, wide open, touchdown. If we would have took care of business on that play, tackled Warren in the backfield or to a 5-yard gain, that Pickens play never would have happened. Guaranteed. That's just how the game of football works. If you miss one assignment on the previous play, those people upstairs get paid too. Those people sitting in the booth get paid too. And they watch your tendencies. They see what you are doing. Therefore, he knew they were going into cover 4 because it was 3rd down and we were trying to get off the field and we were relying on the pressure from the defensive line who have been putting pressure on them all game. Up until that point, he caught us. They're professionals too.
All right, fellas, that's a perfect way to end it right here. Coach E, do you want to give us a post-game word real quick to get us out of here?
Yes, I do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, gather around, take a knee, all eyes on me. Today's word is take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. You can take your success or you can leave it. You can take your work ethic or you can leave it. You can take your hard concentration or you can leave it. All 3 of those things that I just named, you need to take it wherever you go. Hard work travels, consistency travels, and good vision and prayer works and it travels. So take every single one of those with you in every aspect of life, no matter what you are doing, no matter where you are going. It is guaranteed success. That is a formula for success. So take it or leave it.
And that, folks, ends another episode at Magna Wine Boutique. Thanks to the lovely
you,
Brittany Wiley for having us.
Put your off-camera ass.
Yes. Thank you for such a fine place and welcoming atmosphere. And anybody who that's a wine connoisseur, please make sure to stop by here at Magna. Give me the address real quick. I don't know it off the top of my head.
661 Broadway Avenue, Bedford, Ohio, 44146. And the wine for tonight was called Dearly Beloved ID Red. It is a Cab B, ain't this a cab? Cabernet Saint Blanc.
Very delicious.
Please come through, pick it up. Brittany or Dre or Deb will be waiting for you.
And on that note, folks, we'll see you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to Game for All Seasons with Coach E. Please remember to hit the like or subscribe button. Also, make sure to follow Coach E on Instagram at BigF216 or on Twitter at BigF216. And be sure to check out Coach E's Perfect Time Fitness Facebook page. If you're in the Cleveland area, contact us via email at eacurry1@gmail.com for one-on-one or group training sessions. Our theme music provided by Mr. Taboo Timmons on SoundCloud at Mr. Taboo Timmons. Once again, thanks for listening and see you next week.